Strathclyde University's Alumni Relations Office is dedicated to fostering and developing good relations between the university and its former students by keeping you in touch after you graduate and throughout the various stages of your career. The Alumni Network is there for all Strathclyders, wherever they come from, and there are many ways in which to take part, from organised social events in Glasgow and the west of Scotland to reunions of graduates worldwide. Keeping former students up to date with all the university news is one of the most important tasks. As a former student, you'll receive Interface, the university's alumni magazine, which is circulated twice yearly to 40,000 people worldwide. As well as keeping graduates informed of what's going on in the university, many former students use its pages to renew old friendships and discover what classmates have been doing since graduation. So please keep in touch. Let the Alumni Relations Office know when you move job or change address. The university is always pleased to hear news from its ever-growing family. And remember, once a Strathclyder, always a Strathclyder.
please sit down. It's a great pleasure to welcome everybody here this afternoon to the Barony Hall, for this is the last of the ceremonies this summer. It's a very popular one because we have 150 people in the Winter Garden and the Bicentenary Hall watching this on large screen and small screen television, so all the folks back there enjoy yourselves. But you've got to clap as well. And could I say a special word of welcome to our colleagues from Bell College, members of staff headed by their principal, Professor Ken McCallum. Until 6 months ago, Professor McCallum was of the University of Strathclyde, and he's now gone on to greater things. So we do much with Bell College, and we'd like to welcome them this afternoon. So I now declare this congregation formally open.
Vice-Chancellor, in the name of the University and by authority of Senate, I present to you these students. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, for research in the Department of Design, Manufacture and Engineering Management, Abbas Bakhtiar. Bei Yu. For research in the Department of Civil Engineering, Mahdi Al-Sayed Ibrahim. Hamid Ali Al-Sharek. Gwen Larus C. Bain. Evangelia Belaya. Sophie Pitois. For the degree of Master of Science in Computer Integrated Manufacture, James Jones McCall. Stephen Whitehall. In Public Health and Environmental Control Engineering, Ismail bin Mahmoud. In Civil and Structural Engineering, Goris Adel Thabit Michael. In Highway Engineering, Ajaz Hussain Chowdhury. In Computer-Aided Building Design, George Stevenson Burns. For the degree of Master of Engineering in Product Design Engineering, Gwilym Edward Jeans. Richard Snowden Keane. Peter Jonathan McLaughlin. Ewan Leslie Milne. Luke Anthony Reynolds. Joanne Stewart Smith. Isabel Stenhouse. Kenneth Grant Topping. In Manufacturing Sciences and Engineering, Flamant David. Mark Stephen Hogarth. Brian McCluskey. Anne Colette McGurty. Karen McHugh. Alistair Philip Munsey. Andrew James Nielsen. Paul O'Donnell. Madeleine Louise Quinn. Nielsen James Jennings Reid. Andrew Thomas Seller. Michael Kenneth Walker. For the degree of Bachelor of Engineering in Manufacturing, Engineering and Management, Fraser Angus Bain. Claire Brownlee. John Paul Cairns. Donna Ewing. Scott Grant. Jonathan Colwell Lowry. Alistair James Paul. Tom Shanks. William James Brins. David Frame. Daniel John Gallo. Lindsay John Hitchin. Charles Stewart Houston. Tek Hong Ko. Stephen Mark James McCormick. Kieran McFadgen. Derek William Ray. Ronald Anthony Stewart. Mugundan Subramaniam. Ahmad Sayarazan Sulaiman. Alistair Thompson. Richard James Wright. Jin Siu Long. Keith John Gibson. Robert Dow Gilmer. Christopher Edward Matthew Lyon. Stephen Gordon Moore. James Patrick Neeson. Keith John Organ. Fei Mia Nyi. Colin Robert Stevenson. Kenneth William Tannock. Caroline Wallace Thompson. In Manufacturing Systems Engineering, Patrick Richard Grimes. Peter Maron. David Mason. Graham Anthony Healy. For the degree of Bachelor of Engineering in Product Design Engineering, Barry Sheridan. Ian Ritchie McWhirter. Graham Finlay Ross. Alison Ann Wallace. Craig McIver. Iftikhar Mohammed. In Civil Engineering, Rawl Ian Lang. Grant McInnes. Gary McLean. Tara Catherine Scott. Colin David Amers. Gordon Barr. Caroline Corrigan. Mark Alexander Fairhurst. Ian Hogg. Charles John Jordan. Mark Joseph Leonard. Scott Charles McGregor. Stephen William Murdoch. Dougal David Nichol. Kenneth David Ray. Ian Stewart Thompson. Nicole Wright. Mark Jason Armstrong. Gerard Francis Barry. John Michael Collins. Kevin Anthony Donnellan. Martin Donnelly. Jeffrey William Leo Duff. Ralph Field. Stuart Douglas Harrow. Philip James Kelly. David Lindsay. John Patrick McCluskey. Jennifer Morna McIver. David McMurdo. Pedro Paiva Matos Pino. Roland MacLeod Frank Moore. Michael Moran. Colin Patrick Andrew Murphy. Nurazmi Noordin. Graham William David Riddle. Stuart Connell Riddick. Gordon John Russell. Alan Alexander Stewart. Roderick Olav Stoney. Patrick Treacy. Zailan Abdul Latif. Idris Elias. Thomas Henry Burke. Barry John Hamill. Andrew Ingram. James Kelly. Ian MacLeod. In civil engineering with environmental studies, Brian McFarlane. David Barry Shearer. Mark Joseph Given. Roderick James Mackenzie. Alan Beggs. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Environmental Health, David Lockhart Brewster. Jennifer Ann Callahan. Tracy Dawn Thompson. Michelle Helen Farrell. Natalie Ann Hoy. Dawn Elizabeth Manson. Stephanie Ann Newstead. Joanne Natalie Revel. Martin Valenti. Christopher Woods. Mark Finlay. Joanne Elizabeth Gardiner. Kenneth Gerard Joyce. William David McLean. Gavin Lawson Miller Nielsen. Alan Hamilton Noble. Stephen O'Hara. Laureen Ann Wilson. Alan Cameron. David Brian Hunter. Matsapa Eriksson Moshapa. Nicola Ann Payton. Janet Elizabeth Ruth Ray. Leslie Warnant. Fiona Wiltshire. For the degree of Bachelor of Engineering in Civil Engineering with European Studies, Lisa Anita Borghese. Kevin Francis Bryson. Christopher William Hamilton. Stephen Alexander Hardy. Neil Colin Innes McLean. Fraser Neil Mackenzie Darling. Robert Dominic Sherry. Gail Louise Hamilton. Alistair William Henderson. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Construction, Engineering and Management, Cameron James Bell. Stephen Joseph Calverley. Colin James Hamilton.
Vice-Chancellor, in the name of the University and by the authority of Senate, I present to you these students for the degree of Master of Science in Information Technology Systems, Lee Ann Mitchell. In Information Technology, Manus Martin McGonigal. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, Stuart Joseph McPherson. Sudesh Panya. Stuart Robb. Mark Warren Birds. Ian Chatfield. Paul Andrew Curran. Bruce Dick. Alistair Peter Dunsmore. Graham James Fakeney. Graham Alexander Fraser. James Hunter. Ingun Laupert. Ian David Graham MacDonald. Yvette Miller. Stuart Robert Douglas Monteith. Gordon Douglas Robinson. David Scott Wilkie. Martin Brownlee. David Cox. Ruth Ann Davidson. Lawrence Allen Etchells. Brian Ferry. Christopher Stephen Hoven. Dougal Allen Kennedy. John Joseph Kennedy. Adrian Kenneth McCurdy. Jamie John McEwen. Derek Graham McLucas. Alistair Cameron Morris. Graham Stewart. Ya Hung Yeng. Masriyani Haji Abdul Ghani. Zaidi bin Haji Mohammed Taha. Barry William Holmes. Ban D. Lim. Reza Faisal Mohammed Noor. Norikmal Iskander Karamuddin. Jinan Shaban. Martin Bruce Austin. Mark Richard Firth. Alan McCluskey. Derek Andrew Mill. Colin William Nicholson. In computer science with specialism in software engineering, Wayne Donald Grant. Stephen Robert Johnston. Roy Wilson. Richard David Black. Chris Davidson. Duncan Mark McGregor. Stephen Macmillan. Struan MacLeod Kilgore. In computer science with law, Joseph McCrossan. Paul John Collins. Orlando Paul Canetta. Scott Campbell Crawford. Stuart Brown Stevenson. Stephen Charles Brown. For the degree of Bachelor of Engineering in Computer and Electronic Systems, Alistair John Hodge. Richard John Taylor. Mohammed Jamil Aslam. Angela Margaret Brown. Graham John Ferguson. Thomas John Duff Fife. Thomas Hamilton. Mark George Hanna. Alan Hart. Kevin Andrew Lambie. David McCallum. Alan Ray. Keith James Simonton. Denver Richard Troughton. Andrew Mitchell Donaghy. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Computer and Electronic Systems, James Dominic Burns. Philip Lee. Terence Austin Nelson. Kevin Thomas Trotter. For the degree of Bachelor of Technology in Applied Computing, Gary Alexander Johnston. Mark Kane. Scott Mackey. Leslie Janet Pate. Irene Tweedy. Scott Wardrop. For the degree of Bachelor of Engineering in Computer and Electronic Systems, Ashan Ul Haq Mohammed.
Good afternoon and welcome again, ladies and gentlemen. Can I, as the Vice-Chancellor of the University, be the first to congratulate today's new graduates. It's a very special day for all of you, and I hope that you will retain fond memories of this ceremony. I think, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very impressive group of graduates, and I think they deserve our collective good wishes. And I'm sure I speak for all the new graduates when I say that without your help and support as friends and family, they wouldn't have been able to do this. So graduates, would you please thank your friends and family? I would also like to thank the staff on the platform here for the hard work that they have done. They are from the faculties of Engineering and Science. Both faculties have had an excellent year in many regards. Their work has been highly rated by all sorts of different criteria, and I would like to thank them for their achievements. As principal of the university, I'm keen to ensure that our students receive the best possible all-round education to equip them for the modern world. And one element of this is to encourage as many students as possible to gain international experience. It is our aim as a university that a large proportion of our students spend some time studying abroad in Europe and beyond as part of their degree programme. This is important because the international dimension is of increasing importance. Strathclyde as a university has links in every continent, and you may be interested to know that only recently we've been invited to join a consortium of 9 leading European universities who are recognised for innovation. And the only other British university in that is the University of Warwick. The university itself is a truly international community with students from over 100 different countries studying here in Glasgow. Students, therefore, who do not go abroad themselves have the experience of mixing and working alongside fellow students from almost every part of the globe. The careers of our graduates take them all over the world, and that international experience gained both at the university here and abroad, I've no doubt, helps them for the future. And the personal friendships and the networking that develops between students of different countries is just as important. And so as the students prepare for the future, so must the university. And there are many challenges. In the past year, the National Committee of Inquiry, the so-called Deering Committee, has been reviewing the future of higher education in the United Kingdom and comparing it with other systems in other parts of the world. Its report is due shortly, and it will make recommendations which will affect the future of higher education for many years to come. And as a member of that committee, I'm well aware of the challenges and the opportunities that that will bring us. I think we do have to remember that higher education here in Glasgow has changed substantially in recent times. Almost 10 times more of our citizens participate in further and higher education as did so in the beginning of the 1960s. That is really a revolution in the participation rate among students in higher education. The changing nature of the global economy will also place an even greater emphasis on the need to provide lifelong learning so that students don't just do a single qualification, they will probably in their lifetime complete several qualifications, and that brings with it continuing professional development. The aim of all of this is to ensure that our citizens develop the high level of skills that will be required to ensure that our country can successfully compete in this extremely competitive global market. In other words, we must be on the crest of the wave created by change and not trail in its wake. Therefore, I think universities must give clear messages about the way ahead, and this has not always been the case. For instance, there's been much newspaper comment about the role of research and teaching in universities, which reads almost as if these two activities are separate and conflicting. This is confusing, unhelpful, and I wish to clarify the position of the University of Strathclyde. We only have to ask this afternoon's graduates. They know very well that the university is not an extension of some kind of schooling system. To develop their skills and their knowledge base, they have had to learn in an environment of discovery, where the latest and the most modern findings, the most up-to-date knowledge, the most up-to-date data has been developed. Indeed, as students, they themselves will have contributed to that, particularly those who are presenting this afternoon for research degrees through their master's and their doctoral theses. But all of our students, even our first degree students, will have taken place in adding new knowledge, because quite simply, departments in universities have to be at the cutting edge of knowledge. So our staff, therefore, are not simply teachers. They are academic scholars whose work combines different elements of inquiry, discovery, and analysis, as well as teaching. So this work in research and scholarship underpins their work as teachers, and the two activities are therefore complementary and by no means exclusive. So in the future, I intend to steer the University of Strathclyde to emphasise the quality of the learning experience, the creation of top-class, world-class programmes that are relevant, and to do that, we will merge this activity of research, scholarship and teaching. It's important that I think about this at this time because we have produced this month the first draft of our strategic plan for the future, the beginnings of the blueprint for the way ahead into the next century for Strathclyde University. It will obviously, as I've said, emphasise first-class education programmes, but how do we achieve this? We must introduce new methods of learning and study. We must build on advances on communications and information technology, which are advancing rapidly. We will build on our considerable research strengths, invest in our staff, and develop relationships with other institutions near and far. Now, what about the prospects then for graduates? And I'm pleased to report to the graduates that there is compelling evidence that graduates consistently earn more than other workers and have better employment prospects than non-graduates. During these ceremonies and after the ceremonies, I've spoken to many students. Some of them already have jobs, some of them are supported by their employers. Others are still looking. Some have not decided exactly what to do. Others want to go for further training and research. It will take them time, it always does, to achieve their chosen goal. What I want to be sure of is that when they do go for employment or for new employment, they do so in a professional way, systematically, and if they need it, with the help of our Careers Office. I'm pleased to report that recent research in Scotland shows the success of employment of Scottish graduates, and I'll just very briefly tell you a few of the features. The work has followed fortunes of over 2,000 Scottish graduates from 1992 to 1996. Remember that 1992, we were still in the grips of the recession. It was a difficult year for graduate employment. But even so, the graduates of that year still had better employment prospects than the rest of the population. By 1996, things had improved considerably. Virtually none of them were unemployed, but most significantly, in the time since the first graduation and first job, there had been a marked rise in salary, and graduates were on an obviously upward progression into graduate level positions and were progressing through their companies if they were postgraduates. So whatever changes the government makes in future, I believe that the investment by you, the students, of time and effort and financial commitment in obtaining a degree or a further qualification is the best possible decision you can make. In planning the future for the university, I will be turning to you, the new alumni, the new graduates, just as I've turned to your colleagues in the past. We now have 100,000 alumni for which we have addresses. We do keep in touch with them through the magazine, the alumni magazine, and we hope that you will contact colleagues and members of the department and indeed the university itself. So I conclude by saying that you're graduates of one of Scotland's leading universities. Your faculties here and the university as a whole are intensely proud of you. All of you have worked hard and made many sacrifices in order to be able to graduate today. So we wish you every good wish in your chosen career, and we hope you will enjoy the rest of this very special day. Thank you very much indeed. We now, since the weather is fine, can process from this hall, turning right as we go out the door, right again, and then across the road to the area just outside the Lord Todd, which, as the students will tell you, is University Pub, where we will have a drink and a time to chat with you. Photographs can be taken, of course. I hope you've enjoyed the ceremony. Since this is the last ceremony, I'd like to conclude by thanking the registry staff who have prepared our 2,000-odd students for graduation through the Secretary and the Academic Registrar. And I would like to particularly thank Charles Turner, who stage manages these entire operations. Thank you all. So I now declare this congregation closed.